I find inspiration for my work just day-to-day walks, drives, whatever catches my attention. If I see a strong shadow or a strong light, I feel the need to stop and take a photo and go home. I isolate the objects, take away all the background. I think the background is just clutter as far as identifying and isolating the object. And I use a lot of, I don't use black, but I use raw umber and ultramarine blue to get the dark, flat backgrounds. I don't like shiny and I don't like glossy, so in anything in my life. So the more dark and matte I can get the background, the better. Warmer, a little more brown, and cooler, a little more blue. But I really feel like it brings out the object. And a lot of the objects, I take away as much information as I possibly can to keep and still be able to reveal that object. And so the object becomes so simple, I need that really, really flat background to bring out whatever is left. And I enjoy playing with the dramatic darks and lights and the contrast. And I think most of the objects are very simple everyday things that people probably don't pay much attention to. And so to make them kind of lonely or sad or dramatic, I think it draws the viewer in to look at this object a little bit more than they would. Yeah, I mean, no. And a lot of the stuff is just in the titles. The humor, a lot of it comes with the titles. I painted a piñata on a dark background, this lonely, sad piñata hanging there, and I called it Unsuspecting Party Animal. So the Volkswagen turned over is actually reminiscent of being in high school. My friends, we went in together and bought a Volkswagen and overturned it in the parking lot at high school on a rainy day, and had to climb out the door. The fox and the hares, the fox skull is that skull up there that I found on a walk. And, everybody has to do a skull. Every artist paints a skull, every artist paints a crow. So I was thinking about painting a crow on a skull. Well, everything's so serious now, and it's, the us and against them, and the politics, and it's just all so depressing sometimes, And a lot of the work is are just objects that remind me of my childhood. The metal chair, the metal folding chair, the dreaded metal folding chair. Everybody had at least 4 of them, with the card table. And it was my job to load the metal chairs into the trunk. And they're heavy and they're noisy and they're cold and they're uncomfortable. And just to paint one, it just seemed kind of evocative, like why is there just one empty chair? Usually there should be 4 or a stack or... No, it's all, well, my wife will say, oh, another dark painting. Really. A lot of it has to do sometimes with depression, but there's always a little bit of light. Somewhere, within that dark, there's still always a little bit of light, how creepy it might be sometimes, in the shadows and things. But there's always a little bit of bright light, in there somewhere. I had a hard time with my dad's death. We were really good friends. And a lot of the paintings have to do with objects he had or things that remind me of him. And like the metal chair, I inherited from my dad, and not that I wanted it. And the bar stool, and he had a Volkswagen also, and when we were growing up, and almost tipped it doing donuts and things. So a lot of it has to do with my memories of him, and a little bit of depression about it. But I'm thinking about happy stuff now, and the sadness is starting to go away. But it was great for painting. It gave me a lot of inspiration to get back in the studio and do stuff.